This is the story of King Charles I. And just to warn you, there is a picture of an execution at the end of this puppet show, so you may want to check it before showing any small kids. King Charles I came to the throne in 1625 and he lived at Whitehall Palace. Behind him, you can see the banqueting house, which still exists in Whitehall. And this was a symbol of Charles's family's right to rule. Charles and his family believed in the divine right of kings. God had chosen them, and therefore no one could tell them what to do, not even Parliament. There was one member of Parliament who did not agree with this at all. His name was Oliver Cromwell, and the two of them argued. Charles argued with all the parliamentarians until eventually they raised armies and started fighting each other. Charles had his Cavaliers, and Oliver Cromwell had his Roundheads. And they fought all over the country. Sometimes the Roundheads won. Sometimes the Cavaliers won. But ultimately it was the Roundheads who would beat the Cavaliers. Yay! And they captured Charles I and they took him off to London. In London, Charles was put on trial for treason against his country. He was found guilty and he was sentenced to death. And so, on the 30th of January 1649, in front of huge crowds, right in front of the banqueting house, King Charles I had to lay his head on a block and wait for his head to be chopped off. And that is the sad tale of King Charles I. We then had 10 years without a monarchy, with no king. It was Oliver Cromwell who ruled the country, quite happily, it seems, until Charles I's son, King Charles II, was invited back onto the throne. But that is another story. The end. Goodbye.